Hi there, KevKild here. Just making a new guide. I don't want to call this the next level long guide, but as you see in the screen in front of you, this is going to be a YouTube series that I plan on helping folks with their DSOD stuff. And in this guide, I go quite over a bit. So if there's anything missed in the YouTube video series, feel free to check this out, or at least let me know. Maybe I can quickly tune things up or fix things there and there. What this guide entails is a lot of stuff. And generally, I would try to put as much information I could from streaming this game for 9+ months straight, doing nothing but DSOD. So I basically have general rule sets here, just quick little information and advice. DSOD cop damages, same thing on DS. Some mods maybe you should look into, the whole Infamy thing, playing with bots, and of course CrimeNet Offline. In this guide as well, I talk about overview of all the perks, my own rating, where I would throw things where, including a quick little example for not all builds yet, as I gotta go bug folks, but hey, some example builds on different perks and where I would put them at. So crew chief, muscle armor, so on and so forth, as you can find here. Lots of examples and quick little information on, you know, how to hopefully learn from playing those perk decks. Of course, I'm going to go over all the skills. I'm going to be a bit of a sellout and throw my own build guide list there. There's tons of them out there. Example builds as you see here, and again, quick little description on, you know, how should certain trees be when you want to make a proper build to help you with your DSOD. Also going over weapons, talk a bit about breakpoints, but nothing too fantastic. And of course, fancy weapons here that we all know and love. And the big chunk of this will be maps, because that's where the DS information, DSOD, however you want to call it, will be primarily focused on. So as you see here, I kind of give an idea of how things are difficult, some key points, or maybe you should bring something for a bit of damage or a bit of tanking, for example. And this is all based on my own personal experience. And I'm trying to go over all the loud variants as possible. So if you can stealth something cool, feel free to do it. I don't care. But in some of the harder stuff, I want to try and detail as much information to help you guys to keep, you know, maybe do this kind of rotation, watch out for this, or keep an eye on those nasty frickin' snipers. And of course, simple other stuff within the heist that hopefully pubs or other folks don't get confused with. And the list goes on and on and on. So I've been working pretty diligently on this. I think I have a lot of it covered, maybe not all, maybe some small spots. So like I said, if there's anything missed, feel free to bug me about it. But nonetheless, this guide's out here to hopefully help you guys get your achievements or improve your gameplay if you want to pursue even further. And I do have a lot of pictures here. I do have a lot of example videos on my build guide as well. So these educational series is just me running the heist and trying to explain things as we go. So nonetheless, I hope you enjoy it. I am tried my best just to explain everything I could. And if you learn something from it, so you can finally tackle that lab rat's a lot easier, that's all there is to it. But yeah, feel free to comment, or if anything helps you out, let me know. Otherwise, see you next time. I don't know how to start this off. Like I said, so I think I just might wing it. I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready. I do have my build thingy ready. So this is very, very good, because I will be making basically another guide, or the series of videos or guides that I will be doing is quote-unquote educational week, because there's a lot of things to this game that a lot of you may or may not know, including myself, because I'm still learning from chat, who is goddamn spamming it right now, which is fine. I'm cool with it. So anyways, there's a lot of things to this game because Overkill has a lovely spaghetti-coated AI of a mess, RNG up the winger wanger that could cause a lot of resets, special enemy spawn groups that could either make you run fine or end it in 2 seconds, that kind of thing. Game can get very frustrating too. Apparently somebody has just uninstalled the game. Will they come back to the game? Do not know. But for me, I want to do something for not only current viewers that have been watching my streams for many, many months. Been doing this for 8-9 months now. Holy crap. And I've learned a lot myself. I used to be a shitty Swan Song player abusing Rogue. It didn't last very long, don't get me wrong, but I used to be a terrible player. And nobody needs to go through that route. If you want to press W and pray that Swan Song does everything for your life, go right ahead. I don't like that playstyle after, realizing it's risky. You still need to pick me up. And it's a huge point waste when you start developing better and proper builds. So, all this set in mind, a lot of people just want to go get their achievements. They just want to drop in, get their achievements, away they go. As you can see here, I started playing basically when Graves was updated, and no real major updates or changes since. And it did take me a little bit to get, the 1 down mask. Almost half a year kind of thing. And that's probably a lot of you folks that are joining in for, or wanting to learn, or just like I said, just simply give me the best rogue build ever and let everybody pick me up as I go down doing the objectives. You know what? You can do that, like I said. It's not really exciting. It's not really fair for your teammates, if you ask me. Or all that sort of stuff. I get it, it's popular, it's an easy way to play. I just don't think it's fantastic or quote-unquote the right way to go. However, that's what I'm here for. Taking my experiences through all these lovely achievements that we did, because that's probably why you're here. Just to figure out, the ins and outs of DSOD. It's a big jump from Death Wish. It's a huge jump, because Death Wish is more of a casual. If you take Advanced from Left 4 Dead 2 to Expert for Left 4 Dead 2, it's also another big jump. It's like you start taking casual difficulty, and then you ramp it up to huge numbers. And it's a big jump, and it's very overwhelming. I was overwhelmed. I was like, shit, how do you do it? How do you do this stupid difficulty? The answer is not Rogue, please. Don't do that. And I will explain why. Yes, it's quote-unquote a DSOD viable perk deck, but people do not need to jump into this ASAP. It's 20 other perk decks. I'm very fluent in about half of them. Not all of them, and I will stress this enough. Not all of them. Because builds are like waifus. You gotta find something that fits you, fits your playstyle, and helps the team. Whether it's bots. Bots are still part of your team. And I will be explaining all that as well. But like I said, I used to play with Rogue. Yes, I did. I used to prey on the whole dodge mechanic. Even did Swan Song just to abuse objectives, all that fun stuff. But you don't need to. Because the whole step up from Death Wish to Death Sentence is merely, and I hate to be a bitch about it and say it's time and experience. It really is. Because if you know a map inside and out, which is what we're primarily going to be going over, is the map knowledge is very strong. Once you know map knowledge, the ins and outs of harder maps, how Overkill has done each map, and hear me out, each map is unique. Unique to the point how they programmed each one. The enemy units are still roughly the same. Roughly the same. Because the biggest jump from Death Wish to Death Sentence is the Zeal enemy units being introduced with 225 damage. That number you need to have in the backbone of your brain. And so, once you get used to the maps, once you get really comfortable, no different than the Left 4 Dead 2 example I gave, is once you start figuring out what you need to do for maps, what's efficient, what's effective, you can really run things out fairly straightforward and easily. And so in this series, I will be going over every map, with whoever joins me. I don't care. I'll even go into some pub games. I will probably be going down once or twice, or maybe needing a medic bag. I'm not perfect, and nobody else is either. But I will say, maps are probably the #1 thing to learn. Not the perk decks, not the weapons, not your skills, stuff like that. In these series, I will be going over the 21 perk decks as well. Because being fluent in this game, as you can see, I have a mod. So any console users, I do apologize. As you can see, all the anime mods, feel free to cringe, I don't care. I can do a lot of stuff personally. From crew chief to anarchist, I can play a bit of armor, stoic and kingpin. I can do a bit of muscle, ex-president Kruk, hacker, all the good stuff. The majority of, say, quote-unquote meta builds. And once you start to familiarize yourself with different playstyles, different weapons, kind of start to mix a breed of your own personal gameplay. And once you get something that fits you, you can probably take it and rock with it almost every single map, but there's various maps where I will be explaining, you know, if things are easy, if things are harder, you need to bring more DPS, that sort of thing. So once you get comfy with whatever playstyle you get set with, my recommendation off the start, as I've always said before when starting DSOD, the stoic. As you can laugh at my joke here, haha, it's, quite frankly, it's, for me, it's pretty easy. And yes, I have gone down in stoic before too. It may not be the best stoic build or the, you know, the most efficient, but nonetheless, it's something to start with that a lot of higher-ended players recommend. Because the last thing you need is to rely on what a ton of, you know, the social media platforms recommend, dodge. Here's my quick little tidbit on the whole thing of dodge. Dodge should not be relied on. If you're going to play rogue and rogue and rogue only, start learning other perk decks, seriously. Because the last thing you need is, I'm unlucky. I'm very unlucky. If a bullet comes towards your way and that 50% chance says no, and says no, let's say 4 times, you're dead. Or 3 times, who knows? It's a very small number for you to literally die. Stoic will fix that because, yeah, you will take those 3 bullets guaranteed, hit your flask key, and all the damage is flushed away. That's how Stoic works, pretty simple. I have helped a lot of rogue pubs move over to Stoic, and then they started moving over to better builds. And they come back to me and said they enjoyed it. Something that is more consistent leads to a better player and a better play style. So, nonetheless, like I said, you can play however builds you want, but I'm not going to advertise or say to rely on dodge solely. There's a lot. There's a lot to this game, like I said before. And these are just the perks. As you can see, I have a lot of different weapons. 90% of the time I play sniper because I like hanging out in the back lines and picking things off, helping the team. Because I'm a big team support player. There's pistols. Pistols are very strong. I do like them, and I will display them in these series on various maps and where they're effective. It's like snipers. LMGs. LMGs are really good too. They're kind of like the buff assault rifle. Really. You get more bullets, you get more damage, and you get a better ammo pickup. The ammo pickup for your assault rifles are kind of not so great. So if you want something a little more effective, I would start looking towards snipers, start looking towards LMGs, and of course, I'll advertise the best shotgun out here, the Akimbo Goliath. Or you could just take an M10 or an Ishmael, whatever suits your boat. Don't care. Yeah, you can definitely play with assault rifles or grenade launchers or that kind of thing. Totally fine. But I want something that's effective that helps the team. And I'll try to variously display all that. Like I said, I'm barely fluent. May not be perfect. Because this game has a lot of bullshit on RNG. If, you know, for those that just don't want to rush the achievements. There you go. And the last thing I will be primarily going over is all the skill sets needed to make what I would say an effective team build. A lot of my stuff contains obviously the standard, which is Inspire. and 9 lives. I won't say what skills are the best. I won't say what skills are needed. But if you want to be a team player, I would highly focus on stuff like that. People can play without Inspire. Totally. The way I think about it is if I go down, I would surely hope that they would have something to pick me up because of some stupid shit happens. It's not often I play retarded or dumb and run out into the open just to do something. But I think of it as, you know, if they went down, I want to pick them up too. I want to get them up and ready to rock and roll. Other team-based skills, such as jokers, healing for yourself, and DPS, or AoE in this case, just to help create space and to make things manageable for your team, I will be explaining all of that as well. Again, you can play however the hell you want, but just keep in mind, if you're not creating space, you're not making things easy for your team, you're all going to be frustrated, resets are going to happen, people are going to rage quit, and we see that on a daily. Last little things I'm going to talk about is stuff to do with mods, basically what you see in the background. Infamy as well, that's another hot topic. Bots, because bots are OP. Bots are amazing, if you ask me. Not sure why the masks are loading, whatever. And some other small tidbits as well. So, if you want to play solo, there's 2 different buttons. There's a CrimeNet offline and a CrimeNet online. Offline, really good. This is where a majority of solo no AI players play, but you can still play. If I take Art Gallery, for example, you can still play with AI. And as we know, bots definitely have some pretty sweet advantages. You can customize the mask how they want, really don't care. It's nice that Overkill put in the achievements for you guys to get your 4-player mask-like achievements, which is, I think, is awesome. Next comes their weapons. Typically, I give them the Brenner, based on their stats. The second best, in my opinion, will be the R93 sniper rifle. Any modifications are disabled. So if you want lots of, AoE clearing for your bots to do, I would just pack an LMG and away they go. I give them a Brenner because it seems to work for them just fine. I used to run them with a R93 sniper rifle. They've even taken out turrets with this thing. Turrets. Because of their fire rate and the damage they do. I wouldn't back them with a Thanatos because that's too slow. But these two seem to be my go-to if I were to pick. You can mix and match how you want, doesn't really matter. Everything else seems to be a little bit lackluster, so I'm not going to talk too much into it. Thank goodness they can't hold saws, otherwise you would get nothing done. So, actions, or abilities in this case. As you can see here, I typically like to go with these 3. If I were to play solo. Quick, that's number 1. Number 1. Keep in mind, the one closest to the left is the one that gets pushed the most. Because when a player joins, if you have this CrimeNet online, this gets replaced. The second person replaces this, then the third person replaces this. So make sure your leftmost is the one you want the most. And as you can see here, quick, with more AI present, the faster this thing goes. Quick is very good just to get objectives done. Repair drills, plant C4, all that sort of stuff. Really strong. Put this one first. Second, piercing. Shields are a pain in the ass. That's it. Barely I do lots of sniping, but this helps. Nonetheless. Last is Inspire. On the bots. This one could be second, not a big deal. The last is Sharp Eye. I don't recommend this. Because there's a lot of weapons here that require, more ammo pickup, such as the DMR-based assault rifles. So, to me, if you get a low ammo pickup weapon, you're kind of like handicapping yourself with AI. And then say one day you want to go and play with other people. Well, Sharp Eye is not going to be there to save you. So, I don't want to develop bad habits, so to speak. So that's why I just leave it off. Next is the boost, which is even more crazy abilities. Now we got a lot more to choose from. My personal favorite is, of course, Accelerator. This helps tremendously. Because what I notice with bots is that they are very, very, very good at tanking. However, they are not good at killing. So if you can reload and swap your weapons faster, you're going to be doing a lot of the killing. And that is a lot of the things that I see with bots. So if you have a high DPS build, probably best to keep this one first. Yes, Creepy, I see your comment. Second, I just put Distractor. Because I'm not going to set up any health or any of these boosts just yet. And I'll explain why in just a moment. This one's just dodge. Dodge builds work? Yep. Even Anarchist with Soup? Yep. Again, I'm not relying on bad habits because I like to play with Crew Chief as well. With heavier armors. And so this dodge is basically nothing. I could exchange for Stockpiler. This is pretty handy. Last is Invigorator. Just more stam. That's it. Because once I start peeling into, say, more armor, more health, or even more regeneration, these could develop bad habits if you decide to go public. However, I would totally recommend these over the other situational, say, dodge or more speed or more grenades. These are definitely really good. Concealer, don't even worry about it. Not a big deal. But nonetheless, these are very strong, especially for Anarchist players or Stoic players. These are really strong. These will help you tank a lot more. And it could also surpass certain thresholds for breakpoints in case you needed to set up Berserker and stuff like that. So nonetheless, I wanted something with effectiveness, but not breaking bad habits. And outfits, characters, whatever. Doesn't really frickin' matter. Well, anyways, that's my rundown on bots. Now, Infamy. Infamy. I know there's a lot of people in chat, and I know one person in particular, and a lot of people that may watch this and be like, Infamy. I don't want to press that button here. If you're here for achievements, why aren't you pressing the button? If you want to play this game without Infamy, that's your own call. The first 5 Infamies, the first one does nothing for you, other than you get more experience as you level up. The next 4 Infamies after that you should press is the one up top, left, bottom, and right. As you can see, the bonuses, it says your requirement for each tier are reduced. Doesn't mean anything is cheaper, but it means it's easier to get to tier 4 when we move into skills. I'd say the first 5 is definitely essential to get started with Death Sentence OD. And there's 25 achievements for these, and if you're trying to get your Death Sentence 1 down mask anyways, why not just press the button? There's a ton of other achievements out there you can do to level up while you're playing Overkill, to level up while you're trying different perk decks, to level up while you're doing different builds, different weapons, different heists. It's that more experience thing like I mentioned earlier. So you should, I highly recommend you should press the button. Just press it. Because the last thing I need is, oh, I can't get Inspire with this efficient setup. Because otherwise, I'm going to have to take points from here and put 1 point into, say, Painkillers, for example, in order to get Inspire. Because normally it would be 18 points to get up here. This is now 16 because I hit the button. Now I can move those points elsewhere for better builds. There's just no other question. If you're not pressing the button, I would say you're probably going to have a tough time taking care of builds. We went over bots, went over Infamy. I guess a quick little thing for mods. Mods. I would definitely recommend mods if you're on PC. I got a lot here. The biggest ones to get anything, you need Super BLT to get things done. Beer Lib is just more for customization. That's why you see all the anime shit in the background. Not a big deal. The biggest ones would be something like Wolf HUD or Vanilla HUD Plus. If I could find it. There it is. Vanilla HUD Plus. This helps you learn a lot of the inconsistencies in this game. I will be linking these mods in the Steam guide, once I get everything formulated and stuff like that, is getting these things will help you figure out what's going on in the heist. Yeah, some could say it's pretty cheaty, but to me a cheat would be game structure changing or something to help you literally no effort win. So I would definitely recommend having a mod just to give you more visibility of what's going on, because if you have more visibility, that means more learning, and if you can learn a little bit quicker, there you go. That's all I gotta say. It's simple. Because you could take a player that has, you know, 5k hours constantly playing on vanilla. Or you can take some other players that have been playing a lot less, could easily catch up there with that obtained knowledge of what's going on in the heist. There's too much information to swallow. There really is. So I would definitely recommend it. Because the last thing you need is to be swarmed with, I don't know, 100 cops on the map. And you don't know there's actually 100. So you're not going to run out into the open and get yourself killed. Definitely no. Once you step into DSOD, take it a little bit slow. Another thing too that I do recommend is low violence mode. This is the second most I'd recommend. Even with a high-end PC such as mine, I would definitely recommend it. Once you make a kill, they go poof. They disappear. This means it's easier on your game, easier to track to an enemy target, and it just makes runs a lot smoother. I know the preview picture on the mod shop is a little bit funny, but definitely this is another top mod you should get. Or heavily consider. The last one I would definitely consider is something kind of optional, I guess. I picked less inaccurate laser, or just get a crosshair, honestly. It's a first-person shooter game. I think a crosshair is fine. That creates that consistency, and more consistency means better playing, better player playstyle, that sort of thing. Because really, even Payday the heist had it. So I don't say there's anything wrong with it. Personally, I don't use a crosshair anymore. Because with snipers, it's really strong. It's just too strong. But hey, some people cannot aim, which is totally fine. A last optional thing, and I see you spamming it in the chat, it's totally fine, is something called no screen shake. This thing doesn't reduce or doesn't remove recoil. That's the stability stat in the weapons. Because for those that want, some people get headaches just from playing the game, and a lot of people have come back to me and said, yeah, this thing helps. So this thing is very, it's not game breaking. It just adds a more consistency for, say, automatic weapons. Whether that's an SMG, assault rifle, LMG, pistols. Like I said, it doesn't take away the recoil. It doesn't reduce it. Because when you fire a gun, the whole screen actually shakes. There's still recoil. And you will see this in some of the stuff I do. And everything else is just whatever. Personal preference, cleanup, or as you can see in the background, a lot of taste mods, I guess. I guess I'll start with weapons, like I said. So, as I said earlier, builds are like waifus. They're all trash. It's just whatever you want. As long as you can play it without, I don't know, pressing W on Swan Song, there you go. I'm not a fan of assault rifles. People can use them, totally fine. I think they require a lot of points. You can take one standalone and away you go. But to make them effective, to have, you know, 100 accuracy or 100 stability, that kind of thing. They need silencers, they need stable shot, they need surefire ace, or do they? It's all personal preference, and my preferences is no. The ammo pickup is nowhere near as a LMG, which to me is a better assault rifle. Shotguns are probably a lot of people go to, whether it's the Ishma, Predator M10, Akimbo Goliath, Akimbo this, that, whatever. Shotguns are probably the best in their class, and I'd say they're probably top tier. Second would be the LMGs. Lots of shooting, lots of ammo pickup, and of course a high base damage. Really good stuff. Snipers, in my opinion, would be number 3. Need a bit more aim, but the reward is definitely worth it. These things to me are like DMRs with more ammo pickup. And combined with the Gray skill, you can definitely do some AoE damage. I will be talking about the differences of snipers in a bit, but there are basically 3 classes. The 160s, which is Contractor, Grom, and Lebed Sagar. The 255s, which is the Repeater, and the R700. The reason why I call it 255s is just because for damage breakpoints. And of course the 500s, which can one-shot specials, but they have the least ammo pickup. And of course the Thanatos, it's its own class, don't even have to worry about it. The next would be some of the launchers. The launchers are really good. Nothing special about them. All grenade launchers are really good, whether it's a primary or secondary. Grenade launchers are... You take, what, 3-4 ammo boxes and you can blow up a lot of stuff, blow up shields, stuff like that. Really strong. All personal preference, I prefer the compact. Simple and easy. Others prefer the Arbiters, others prefer the China Puff. But once you start getting Commando or the rocket launcher, you need ammo bags for that. Next would be the pistols. Majority of the pistols, to me, aren't that great. The only ones that I would heavily consider is something towards the Akimbo Strike 18Cs, or some of the newer ones with the Federalis weapon pack. They're basically like an automatic assault rifle, which sounds weird, but the reason why these are so good, or a little bit better than assault rifles, because they have their own pistol skills for them. So if I switch to a class, saying Pistol Zerk, one of my Berserker base setups, you can have more damage when you hit something, more base damage, more stability, more ammo or reload, however you want to play with them. They actually have dedicated pistol skills. And that's why, to me, they're a little bit better than just an assault rifle, because there's no assault rifle base stuff. Unless you consider body expertise and all that stuff. But I don't. Another good thing about pistols is that there's the AP pistol. A lot of people that start learning pistols should definitely consider this secondary. I don't like a lot of the other base pistols that aren't automatic. But when it comes to the AP pistol, it's armor piercing, meaning it can go through shields, and it's probably the best secondary pistol to have. So these are really strong. Punch through shields, and they got very high damage to start with. And this is me holding a build with pistols, and another thing to learn is that if you have pistol skills while you're going through weapons, or any stuff like that, if I go back to my previous build, you can see the damage values are different. These ones say 128. That's another damage breakpoint to remember. So we have already went through 3 key numbers. 225 is Zeal. 255 is the snipers. And 128s are the pistols, or in these cases. Because when you do a headshot in Death Sentence, 128 damage will one-shot light. 255 or 255.71, I can't remember the math. Just say 256 if you really wanted to. You can one-shot a heavy. So having these numbers high enough makes these weapons very effective, and I have kind of said this in my top 5 weapons guide. Lastly, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are going to grief me for it, but like I said, assault rifles are probably the last one I would pick in its class. They don't have a lot of high damage compared to other weapon sets, and they require a lot of skills just to get high concealment, low detection, and or good accuracy and stability. Personally, if I were to run assault rifles, it would have to be with a grenade launcher and or Berserker. You can do it. Everything's personal preference, no big deal. But that's just my take. Again, everything's subjective. You play how you want. I prefer stuff that is effective for the team, and if you can play with it with the team, go right ahead. Last two would be perks and skills. So, I guess I'll get started with the perks. Crew Chief. People know me by playing a lot of Crew Chief. That's about it. This is probably the best support deck out there. Damage reduction for you and your team. Short distance stamina, more damage reduction. Health for you and your team, armor for you and your team. And more health and damage reduction for any hostage or their own Joker. All around good stuff. Great support team deck. One of the higher ended ones. Muscle, another higher ended perk deck in my opinion. You get more health. You take heat off your team. More health. Unsilenced weapons, again, more typos. Will spread panic across the team. Or enemies, again, more crowd control. And of course, more health and a passive regen similar to Hostage Taker, which we'll go over in a bit. Another high-end deck and another great deck. This could be used for a lot of Berserker-based builds, which are in mine. You get yourself a shit ton of armor, and you get yourself 2 seconds of God mode. Immune to health damage if your armor gets depleted or gets shot twice by a Zeal. Get into cover or run away, that sort of thing. And of course, the armor recovery time for you and your crew, it gets sped up. So this is a good semi-team-based build, but I'm not a fan of armor, I prefer Anarchist. But armor and Anarchist are two different things. Let's straighten that out. But another great perk deck. We've already talked about Rogue, and like I said, dodge should not be relied on. You kind of put heat on your team, and the only benefit to this class is honestly weapon swapping. Similar to Overkill is, but I don't want to... Like I said, I don't recommend this perk deck right away. If you want to, go ahead. But Stoic is better. Stoic teaches you the game. And I would play more Rogue, but honestly, I don't like putting heat on my team. This 3-9 shit, not my favorite thing in the world. If this was removed, cool, maybe I consider it, but again, it's just purely dodge. There are better dodge decks out there once you start to familiarize yourself with the game. Hitman, more of a harder base deck. It comes with a free Akimbo Ace skill, that's about it. Otherwise, it's half decent armor recovery rate. The best part about it is that your armor will come back if it gets two-shotted after 1.5 seconds. So kinda similar to armor, but not as forgiving when you have the 2 seconds of vulnerability. Because during that 2 second invulnerability, you can run into cover and do all that sort of fancy stuff. Here, you could make it work, but it's not... I've never had good luck with it, so I'll leave it at that. Perk is a really good, I'd say above average, perk deck in terms of... It combines dodge and armor. Whether it's lightweight ballistics vest or heavy ballistics vest, you can actually make this work. Combining with Iron Man, a bit of Frenzy, you can have more armor than standard armor perk decks, and it comes with free dodge. How cool is that? Perk to me is a very versatile perk deck, and it's strong at what it does, and I've had some good success with it. Now we move on to Burglar. Burglar, this is a stealth perk deck, but you can run it loud. Obviously the lower tier on my list. It's meant for stealth. Really, you can lockpick faster. Might be handy for Hawks and Breakout or Shacklethorn, but only for one instance. Another thing too is it kind of puts heat on your team if you start crouching. So, not my most favorite perk deck, but you can make it work, I guess. I don't have anything fancy to say about it. You can run it like anything else, but you're probably going to need first aid kits and the uppers A skill, which we'll go over in a bit. Infiltrator is basically a tanky perk deck similar to armor, but take less damage and you get healing from melee. I don't do a lot of Infiltrator or Sociopath, as these two are very similar, where you do basically killing. Well, Sociopath has armor gating similar to Anarchist. Can make it work with lower, lesser armor type values, but it's probably best to put ICTV for both of these. I'm not a good Sociopath or Infiltrator player. I never stepped too much into these perk decks, but Again, just something out there. Gambler. Now, this will probably be one of the... another lower-ended perk deck. This one encourages you to run and go grab ammo for your team. I don't recommend this off at the start, as usual. It's not my cup of tea. Grinder seems good on paper. But the thing is, the breakpoints will not allow you to take 2 shots unless you heavily invest into skills and scenarios. Basically, this perk deck is amazing on Death Wish and below, but once you step into Death Sentence, I don't think it's that great. Makes sense, you do damage to do lifesteal, but after that, you're not... It's nothing tanky, and I've never had great success. The limiting factor of this perk deck really becomes when you have to use 2-piece suit or lightweight ballistics vest. That's about it. If you could probably use heavier armors, this perk deck might make sense. Yakuza, the only success I've had with this was ICTV and Frenzy and Pack and LMG. Or you could do suit uppers just like any other lower perk deck I mentioned above, and away you go. This one's very, very, very tough to use. But I've had some success with Frenzy and ICTV armor sets. Faster armor recovery rate with lower HP. Sounds cool. Almost similar to Hitman and Armor, but that's all it is. You don't gain anything else. Ex-President, one of the higher-ended ones in my opinion. You basically have another health pool. You store up health pool with those kills, and once your armor explodes, you get that health back. I'd say this is a much better alternative to Grinder. Oh yeah, and it comes with free dodge apparently, wherever it is. There it is. Dodge by 10%. So, there you go. Maniac, probably the worst perk deck in my opinion, because people have reported lots of bugs with it. And it's a flat damage reduction. So, if you have 4 damage reduction, it's not 4%, it's 4. So, 225 becomes 221. It's a support deck that causes you to continuously keep shooting to help your teammates. It's only ever saved me once when one of my good buds, Carrot, played with it. But at least you can take an ICTV armor set and do damage and take 2 shots if necessary. Anarchist, one of the most, I shouldn't say higher-ended tier decks, it's definitely up there in terms of skill and effectiveness. Similar to Armor, where you get the 2-second God mode, but please do not put anything other than a suit. Overkill designed this perk deck specifically meant for you to have points. This is not an armor build. Ever. You convert your health into armor. That's it. So you get less health for more armor. The armor dealing damage, so there's 3 ways to generate armor with this deck. Well, I shouldn't say 3, 2 technically, because you can run this without bullseye. Depending on your armor value, suit in this case, like I recommend, as I posted in my previous Steam guide, suit is 2 seconds, so every 2 seconds you gain armor. Dealing damage also gives you armor, and if you have bullseye attached to that, that's a 3rd way to armor generate. And as we know, hopefully people out there are able to understand how armor properly works in this game. Once you take any sort of damage other than a sniper, it'll subtract that amount regardless of what you have. So if you have 10 armor and you take a 225 Zeal shot, you'll only take that 10 armor in a way and it's gone. You don't take the extra 215 that's left over. If that was a sniper on the other hand, yes, he would cut your health similar to butter. Like slice. I can't think of the correct analogy here. But like I said, once you have a tiny bit of armor, it'll protect you from any damage. If there's any perk deck to learn, I would definitely strongly recommend Anarchist. There's a lot of Anarchist builds out there from every player. But like I said, for the love of God, please do not use ICTV because the way the armor regenerates, like it says Anarchist will continuously regenerate your armor throughout the combat. So heavier armor regenerates more armor, but if you have, like I said, if all you have is 10 armor to block a 225 Zeal shot, that's all you need to block a 225 Zeal shot. You don't need 70, you don't need 100 or 225. So that's why suit is typically better, because suit regenerates faster. More regenerating faster, if that's proper English, means you're going to be protected a lot more frequently. In case you need to run from objective, or if you get shot from the middle of nowhere, that sort of thing. Another thing here too is skills and perks that increase armor recovery rate are disabled. So you don't need shock and awe, you don't need armor on your team, or armor player on your team. You don't need any of that stuff. You basically equip the suit, you're done. That's it. Don't change a freaking thing. That's the purpose of the skill deck. Some people like to put lightweight ballistics armor. The difference in that is from 2 to 3 seconds. Some people might recommend it. I still do not. Because you're better off armor gating with a faster regen, despite being tankier, even if it's 1 second. Because there are times when coming around a corner, when an enemy is literally wall hacking, you could be more tankier with a heavy armor. Yeah, sure, you might be able to tank 1 or 2 more shots better, but with Partners in Crime Aced, that gives you more HP. You can get more armor that way. I see a lot of builds with Iron Man and Frenzy Basic. That can also work with suit, including mine that I have on my build guide as well. But basically, the whole idea of Anarchist is, like I said, you put on a suit and away you go. Biker is a different way to do armor gating, but it can be severely fucked over by your teammates. And it's a mix of health and armor gating. Yeah, sure, you don't lose your health like Anarchist, but during this stream of, 4 different streams of 4 different seconds, you could either be screwed over by your team, or if you make too many kills at one point, say if a grenade launcher and you kill 5, well, there goes your armor gating. See ya. Kingpin, no longer available because Scarface DLC is gone. However, if you do have it, this is probably the second best perk deck. It allows you to tank everything, except for Green Dozer or Shotgun User. Nothing impressive. But generally, you get more health. You create support for your team if you pop the injector, which I have shown in some of my streams and runs. Any more, well, I don't know what I'm going to start with here. There's a lot to talk about this perk deck. But basically, it's a giant-based health perk deck that replaces your throwable to tank everything, so you can get from point A to point B a lot easier. You could do objectives with pure safety. I will be showing this a lot of my gameplay, because a lot of people with Kingpin should probably appreciate its effectiveness. One thing that's really important that's not stated here is any armor you have and you take health damage, it gets converted to your health, your existing health, right away. So basically, if you have Bullseye, your armor's gone, you need HP, and you still have the injector going, make a headshot. Take a hit, and if that's a Zeal 225 hit, boom, you got 225 health. From that 5 armor. Amazing. Get your butt back into cover, start making kills, get your cooldown ready. Proper way to play Kingpin, if you ask me. Really strong perk deck. So here comes that other dodge perk deck that I mentioned earlier, Sicario. The way Sicario works is on a 4-second timer. You take a hit, you gain yourself 40% dodge. Or, I can't remember the exact numbers, or 20%. Nonetheless, you take a hit, you gain more dodge chance. If you actually dodge a bullet, dodge replenishes your armor. So it's kind of like a washing machine. It just continues to go in circles. Personally, I don't like the smoke. I don't play this perk deck a lot. I like the other dodge perk deck I'll explain in a bit. But Sicario can really make and break a lot of, tight scenarios. Really good perk deck. It's a little tough to use. I'd recommend this with the suit. I would not spec Sneaky Bastard for it. Duck and Cover Aced is enough. Then you can provide the rest for team-based skills. But all you gotta do is take a hit, wait 4 seconds, then perform your action. And away you go. Pretty simple. And like I said, with HUD mods, you can easily see all this stuff. Same HUD mods for Anarchist, Armor, Kingpin, all that fun stuff. And here comes the best perk deck in the game, Stoic. Please nerf, it's OP. Replace your throwable, similar to Kingpin. instead of taking all the damage, you flush it out. So what Stoic does is you absorb any damage you take, and if you take too much and you think you're gonna die, you just press the button. That's it. You flush the damage or soak it up, however you want to call it. If you think you're good, you can hide into cover for, I don't know, 4 seconds, and it'll flush itself automatically. But if you take another hit during that 4 seconds, maybe press the button, and then you'll be fine. This is a really strong perk deck as you convert armor, some kind of similar to Anarchist, but maybe opposite, I guess. Any armor goes to health. So there's no armor in this perk deck at all. And please do not do a 2-9 Stoic build, that's just dumb. Nonetheless, if you have ICTV armor, that means more health. Combining this with Crew Chief and other support-based perk decks, Stoic is really strong. Tag Team, another support-based perk deck. I haven't played a lot with this. I've only ever played with this once. Only once. You take an ally. Excuse me there. You take an ally and any kills that you do generates health. That's all it does. You need line of sight for it. It's a pain in the butt to use, but not my cup of tea. Still pretty good perk deck if you ask me. If you got a high DPS player or decent player, I guess, you should have no problems. Last perk deck to talk about is Hacker. This is basically a pocket ECM. If you want a fun dodge perk deck, which I like, play a lot of Hacker myself, is basically you hit your ECM and you can generate health while making kills. It says right here, if you kill one enemy at least, you gain 20 dodge for 30 seconds. So you can actually create more dodge than Rogue. It doesn't say that you have a base dodge already. So if I switch to a Hacker build per se, where is it? I am blind. So I got a Hacker pistol build for here. I got a base dodge of 35 with suit. So that means if I make a kill, I get 20 more. That's pretty nice. And the best part, crew members also heal themselves while they're killing too. And you create crowd control with the stun. Hacker's a very strong perk deck. Also really strong for stealth. I'm not going to go over the stealth stuff, but I'm a stealth player too. I can have my thoughts and whatnot, but Hacker is probably the second best support deck in my opinion. However, it does not have more dodge than, say, Rogue perk deck if you're not making kills, because 20 plus 35, that's 55. So if you keep killing, make that uptime even higher, you can make it more effective than, say, Rogue that comes with 45. 5 plus suit, that sort of thing. So Hacker to me is just better. Very good perk deck. So that's perk decks. So last, before we get into maps and I start running every single map this week, the skills. Now, as I said before, I like focusing stuff on team-oriented things. Stuff that helps the team. You can do solo, cool. If you can play a team-based game without Inspire, fine. But I like to be treated the way I like to treat my team, and if, you know, anything happens or bullshit happens in this game, I want to make sure I'm there for them and they're there for me, in case anything happens. So a lot of builds are basically spec'd up to Inspire. Now, you don't need to ace everything to get up to Inspire. There's different ways to get to tier 4 skills. Such as, you know, acing this or going here, this route, or stuff like that. There's different ways to get to the tier 4 skills in different various scenarios of builds that you may come across. However, I'm going to be talking about every single skill here, so this is going to get really boring. Because some of these are just, like, I don't explain skills in build videos that I have in my build page. No, I just literally lay them out. You guys can figure it out as to why. Well, here's why. So combat medic, obviously, all tier 1s, you need to... It's a pretty fucking obvious, you need to hit tier 1 to go up. So Do I really need to explain everything? Well, here we go. Combat medic, yes. 30% damage reduction for you and the player you're reviving. So there you go. You do not need to ace this at all. There's no point to ace this. I don't see any point. And it might screw up people with Berserker. It's just not worth it. And of course, acing a skill, as we already know, is a lot of points. So acing a tier 1 skill is 3, acing a tier 2 is 4, acing a tier 3 is 6, and acing a tier 4 is 8. Basically, it's a lot of points. So you don't need to. Now, this tree is very special. There's a huge debacle, and I absolutely ask everybody why they want to choose quick fix or painkillers. Now, I already have a video displaying the benefits of painkillers, which are far superior than quick fix, than what quick fix has to offer. So let's look at the description. Decreases your first aid kit and doctor deploy time by 50%. Basic version sounds really good, especially for first aid kit users, because once you take a lot of health damage, you want to place it, you want to make sure that you can drink it or have the uppers ace save you. So for a fact-based build, you could probably take care of it. The ace version, however, remembers that use your first aid kit or doctor bag take 10% less damage. There's only 2 scenarios I can think where that's useful. Is that in non-health based perk deck builds, if you decide to take the medic bag way, which this I do not recommend, or doctor bag, whatever, is for anarchists with Iron Man or ICTV armor sets, because 225 is more than 221 armor. Keep that in mind. So any stoic or muscle or kingpin that wants to strictly stay on first aid kits, I would definitely recommend this form of deployment. Uppers is simple. Add more first aid kits, and uppers aces anytime you're about to die, one gets automatically used up. Good. Inspire, probably the most OP skill, most OP team skill. And you basically run up to a person, you press F, away you go. Everybody knows how to use Inspire, so I'm not going to go over that. What I do want to go over is the fact that a lot of people forget what basic Inspire means. Now, if you're doing over drill, moving 69 bags of gold, or if you want to help speed up a person who's just about doing an objective or want to get from point A to point B, you can also shout at them to make them move faster, and they reload a little bit quicker. And I have noticed the speed increase does help at times. Don't forget to F your teammates, literally. Because the speed bonus does help, even in close proximity, because it helps for the reload speed. So if you're within 9 meters, you can shout at them too. Again, this is where all the HUD mods come into play, like I mentioned earlier. It'll definitely help you out. So don't forget that this thing has a basic ability. So for a first aid kit deployment setup, I would definitely strongly recommend going this way. And I'm not going to talk about no Infamy builds, otherwise you could probably go painkillers, this setup, then you can get your 18 points, whatever. So why is painkillers better than quick fix? Well, as I said in my other previous video, 120 seconds of 10% less damage does not change armor breakpoints whatsoever. It may help for health-based builds, but what the fuck are you doing when you do quick fix and doctor bags? This does not make any sense, because if you have a health-based build, such as Stoic, great example, you're not bringing doctor bags with quick fix. Probably bringing first aid kits for your Stoic build. So painkillers aced. What it allows you to do is when you revive a teammate, they take literally a huge damage reduction. So 30% plus 50%, also plus 30% from combat medic. You would think, oh yeah, that's 110% less damage. No, unfortunately, damage reduction in this game has delimiting returns. Or basically 0.3 times 0.5 times 0.3. If you do the math, that's 0.86. So 86% damage reduction. You can take up a lot of zeal shots, a lot of enemy fire, getting into cover so they don't go down again. That's the purpose of reviving with Inspire, so they do not go down again. If you're not running say this setup with Dr. Bags, you're doing it wrong. Because if you're gonna bring Inspire, I wanna make sure my team is up. I wanna make sure they're still able to take another bullet or two, as opposed to quick fix, so they don't go down again. I know Inspire has a short cooldown of 20 seconds. However, what if that was their last down? You don't know that. So for a Dr. Bag deployment, I would sincerely go for this direction. Especially combat doctors simply saying, you get more Dr. Bags, you get more charges, similar to uppers. That's it. Force Friendship. Again, you gotta hit the tier 1 skill, there you go. You get more cable ties, and you tie down hostages faster. Awesome. Most useless skill right here. Force Friendship based. You need 8 hostages to get 4 damage reduction. And cops in this game, since there's 100 on the map, you are not going to protect every single hostage. Not even me as a good crew chief player. I don't even give a shit about protecting the hostages. Hell, I shoot them at times. I don't care. But this right here, don't waste your time with. Joker. This is where the game gets fun. You can convert somebody from the enemy team to be on your side. Enemy units are strong. They are very strong. But you got to do a little bit of damage or make sure that they're completely isolated. Those are the only 2 times. And it's a 90% chance to basically dominate a cop. Joker Aced, however, lets you convert a cop a little bit faster and they do a little bit more damage. I don't think it's necessary for a lot of builds, hence why I just tend to keep this one at basic. The bread and butter is Partners in Crime basic, but better is Partners in Crime Aced. You can get a Joker, but without Partners in Crime Aced, they're going to die very fast. Like I said, 225 is a big damage number. Partners in Crime Basic doesn't cut it, so just ace it if you're going to have Jokers. This is a standard Joker setup. Having a converted enemy increases your movement speed and increases your health, so any health-based perk decks, this is heavily good to consider. It takes heat off of you, takes heat off your team. Probably the second best skill in the game, in my opinion. And like I said, having these ace will make sure that your convert stays alive a lot longer. Because without Partners in Crime, your Joker's dead. Confident Basic allows you to get an increased range when you shout at them, but really, you want 2. That's where the Ace version comes into play, so you can have 2 Jokers. Confident Ace is really good to shout really far, similar to Crew Chief perk deck itself. And away you go. And then there's Hostage Taker. Simply put, if you have a Joker or a hostage, you gain health on a periodic basis. I don't recommend doing this on basic because 1.5% health every 5 seconds is too small to make a difference. You're best off to go straight for the Ace version and get 4.5% health. The numbers are huge. Don't be a dumbass and because you hit the Infamy button and take the skill off. Because now you can't convert for your 2 Jokers. You need Joker to do any conversion. This is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, this is number 4. Do I have to talk about the next part? Unfortunately, I do. Stockhold Syndrome. Now, civilians, this may be good for stealth. Any intimidation you do, they stay intimidated 50% longer. They don't want to pull out their cell phones. Fine. Whatever. Unfortunately, the Ace version is where people can get back into the game. And as you can see here, this effect can occur during assaults, but only one time during a heist. So if you have a hostage, you can basically mash your spacebar and get back into the game. This is similar to Swan Song abuse, if I were to kindly put it. It's merely a waste of points. Having Partners in Crime Ace allows you to take heat off of you and your team. If you have Stockhold Syndrome aced, what are you doing? You are just pre-planning yourself to get back into the game, and you don't support anything for your team. Because if you come back and you don't have anything, you don't have a Joker, you don't have your bearings back, you come into a weird spot during an assault, this is a very risky skill. Very risky skill. So typical setups are like this, and other typical setups, if you need to save 2 points to keep hostage takers, away you go. Otherwise, I recommend having a 2 Joker setup, or a fast 1 Joker setup, or a 1 Joker setup without hostage taker. So that's what you'll see in a lot of builds. Stable shot basic, like I said, tier 1, hit the button, blah, 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 blah. 8 points of stability, that's huge. It's just for 1 point, really strong. You'll probably see this in a lot of builds. Stable shot ace, I don't think really needs it. But like I said, there are different ways to get up to tier 4 skills, and I'll show it here. Standing still, this also includes LMG and bipod. So if you literally stand still, don't hit your W key, you gain more accuracy. It doesn't show up into your stats here, so if I select the AMCAR, you can see accuracy, the 64, and stability is 84. But if I take this off, you can see it's 64 and 76, so it changes. So it doesn't give you the immediate change right away. Next is marksman, more accuracy for all stuff. SMGs, sniper rifles, assault rifles, and single shot mode. Nobody uses a lot of single fire in a lot of builds, but not a big deal. I don't like it. Marksman aced. This is really important for aiming down sights. I use this in a lot of my builds, and the 20% accuracy boost really helps quite a bit. It allows to get even 72 accuracy up to 100 as your, right mouse button or aiming down the sights. So really good to consider if you have a low accuracy sniper rifle and if you right click a lot. Rifleman. As much as I like the skill for the faster ADS, the movement speed unhindered, this can make or break a lot of kills. And you can potentially go around a corner too fast. This is kind of a personal thing. Personal preference thing, not a big deal. It's up to you if you want to play it. More weapon zoom levels, so you can see really far than the box sight, and of course, opposite of stable shot, you have more accuracy while moving. Cool. I don't use it, I don't care. Majority of my sniper builds include stable shot ace, so then I can get up to aggressive reload. Faster reload, and if you make a killing headshot, the reload becomes twice as fast. Really handy. Or anything in single fire mode, keep that in mind. So that includes all snipers, the M308, or anything single fire. One thing I forgot to mention about aggressive reload is that if you make a finishing kill with a sniper, swap to a secondary weapon such as an SMG, you can reload that SMG twice as fast. Ammo efficiency is how efficient you are with your headshots. You get 3, you get a bullet back. If you get 2 with the ace version, you get a bullet back. A lot of my sniper builds have this kind of setup with Grazed Ace. Grazed Basic is basically useless. Don't even bother. It needs to be Ace, because if you need to go headshot kills for ammo efficiency, headshot kills for aggressive reloads, you're going to need headshot kills for Grazed anyways. So what Grazed does is, if you perform a headshot kill, the remaining health that it has will deal 100% of that damage in an AoE effect. I don't recommend basic. I've never done a Grazed basic build. So a lot of sniper setups with 255 sniper rifles will have this kind of setup. You could ace ammo efficiency, but aggressive reload should come first, in my own opinion. If you want to go for a contractor or a Grom setup, because of the lower accuracy it provides, this is fine, because 168 damage sniper rifles have more ammo pickup, so you don't really need ammo efficiency aced, and marksman aced allows you to get up to that 100% accuracy while scoped. But majority of my builds that I run is typically the setup for standard sniper rifles. Raze is a really strong skill, so if you're going to run a sniper, I would definitely recommend it. Enforcer. Underdog. Well, like I said, hit the button to get up to your shotgun skills. Some builds could actually use Underdog aced with ICTV setups. However, it only lasts for 7 seconds. I prefer consistency. That's just a personal thing. But if you can make it work, I'm not going to go too much into detail with it. I don't see a lot of builds with it, so nonetheless. Shotgun CQB allows you to reload faster. That's all it is. Yeah, you get increased still zoom sight speed similar to ADS in the other tree, but that's it. It's just reload speed. Shotgun impact. This is where you do percentage damage. Shotgun impact basic. This is more damage. Simply put, a lot of Ishma damage shotguns should probably have impact basic, combined with Underdog, you can one-shot lights. So nonetheless, if you run the M10 or Predator, you can ace this, hit close by, and hit your overkill. Because with shotguns, all you need is overkill basic. You receive a 75 damage after killing an enemy with a shotgun. This is a generic shotgun-based setup, or in this fashion as well. During the stream, I totally forgot about overkill aced. When you make a kill with a shotgun, it can be applied to other weapons. So if you want to do like an SMG variant on your secondary or primary, if you make a kill with your shotgun, you can get that damage bonus as well. But if you're primarily sticking with shotguns, you're better off to stick with basic. Close by, this allows you to hip fire while sprinting, which is really good for getting a bullseye proc in case you need to go from cover to cover. Rate of fire increase, I mean, like, it does help, but this is for more magazine-based shotguns such as the Ishma, Goliath, Grims. Any other shotgun really doesn't benefit from close by aced. If you're running an Ishma-based setup, this would be kind of a setup. Running M10 or Predator, this would be the alternate setup. Far away is simply put how effective range the shotgun pellets are going to go. I don't see a lot of benefit to the skill. I don't use it a lot. I don't see it a lot either. I've never needed it. If you want to use it, go ahead. I'm not gonna talk about it too much. Resilience. All it is just armor recovery rate. Again, this won't affect anarchists, but majority of builds have it. Resilience A is probably, in my opinion, another, well, I shouldn't say third best skill, probably top 5. Because random flashbangs are annoying, and this helps save your butt. You go around a corner, get flashed. It's up to you if you want to have resilience days. Otherwise, the main priority of this target, or this tree, is to get to bullseye. A lot of builds will have either this kind of setup or this kind of setup. Bullseye is, if you land any headshot, doesn't have to be a kill, you gain 5 armor. Like I said earlier, if you take a 225 hit with 5 armor, this will save you. Even in close quarter ranges, if you're having troubles killing something, this will save you. A lot of versions do not need to be aced, because like I said, the difference between 25 armor and 5 armor, it won't be that much different. You want to ace it, go ahead, but you only need 5 armor. Just need a basic. I have seen some anarchist builds, including one of mine, that has an ace version of Bullseye. I have seen it save me twice, and all the times I've used it, but 9 times out of 10, basic is fine. But you should definitely consider getting this skill in almost every single build except Stoic, or Anarchist, or Sociopath. Die Hard, this is really crucial for a lot of lightweight ballistics vest builds, or simply tank builds. You take 50% less damage while interacting with stuff. This helps you do objectives, repair the drill, blah blah blah, or even revive your teammates. Yes, because your teammate is an object. Yes, because cool game. So, the Ace version allows your ballistics vest to be increased by 20. Now, there's another thing on my guide that I will explain in a bit. So any ballistics vest will increase their armor by 20. Lightweight ballistics vest is good because of concealment. As you can see, the difference from suit to lightweight ballistics vest is not a lot. If I pump this thing on, my detection may be a little bit higher, but I have 70. 70 is the 4th key number you should worry about, because on my Steam guide, I do have this laid out in here. Light SWAT, shields, gangster, street cops do 67.5 damage. Bit of a correction on my part. Shields actually do 70. I kind of have it better on this new guide that I'm making, totally. So if you get hit by a light SWAT or a shield, and then get hit by something else, such as a Zeal, that 70 armor will save you. It'll save you a ton of HP. As opposed to a 20 suit value. So in builds that want to maintain 70 armor without expending their high ballistics vest, because that is a lot harder to conceal as opposed to this, they can maintain that 70 armor threshold breakpoint value. Say that 10 times fast. Anyways, Really good. Transporter, throw bags 50% further. You don't need this on a lot of heists. And of course the ace version is more armor you have, the faster you move with the bag. That's simple. But like I said, 9 times out of 10 trees, you really get bullseye. The alternate version is this way if you want to maintain that flashbang, but you don't have diehard. Both are totally fine. However you want to play it, don't care. Rockin' off. As we already talked about, armor recovery rate doesn't affect anarchists, but this will help you and your team. So if you combine this with armor, really good. Almost 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds for your armor to come back. And the last one for the ace version, you'll see this in a lot of LMG builds, including mine, is enable weapons to have knockback when you shoot at them. It's not 100%. Unless you want it to be 100%, you just simply walk up to them and smack them in the face. So, it's not 100% guaranteed, unless you use a shotgun, but for an LMG-based build, I see this quite a bit, because the last thing you want to do is swap to a weapon, such as an AP pistol or an HE judge, get rid of the shielding, go back to your primary weapon. This saves all that. So, either shotguns or LMGs, pretty good to have. Last is Iron Man, simply put, more armor value. You see this in Crook, Anarchist, or armor builds, and of course, ICTV. It's nothing to it. The only thing about ICTV I will say is that when you put it on, you have 221 armor. You do not have more armor than a Zeal shot to surpass, which isn't good. So that means you also need Underdog Ace, or Frenzy Basic, or if you have a crew chief in the party or maniac, stuff like that. But if you decide to go to a different perk deck, which is obviously better, that benefits from it, there you go. Armor does the job. Hence you put armor on armor. Wowee. So that's enough of that. Like I said, the main thing of this tree is to get bullseye. Scavenger Basic, probably the 3rd best skill in the game. Hands down. Why? Ammo pickup box range is increased by 50%. If you make a kill where you cannot walk where the enemy spawned or where the enemies were, such as a hallway, elevator, rooftop, XYZ, you lost that ammo packet. However, with elevators or through walls, you can grab a little bit back. The Ace version to me is the dumbest fucking thing ever. Yes, the dumbest fucking thing ever. Because if you need an Ace Scavenger, I know some builds can use it, but I don't recommend it. Because if you're going to Ace Scavenger, you're probably trying to get extra lead, or you just think, oh, I need a bit more ammo. There are problems with this, and I'll outline it in my Steam guide. I'm not going to show videos during this stream cut session, but if your 6th kill is in an elevator, in a hallway, or like I said, a rooftop, you just lost that ammo packet. It's gone. It's gone forever. You'll never get it. Ever. If you need ammo, you should seriously consider getting extra lead and bring an ammo bag. It's simply put, you can't control the 6 enemy you kill. A lot of guns and weapons that have good sustain on their weapons, all you need is Scavenger Basic so you can pick up your ammo. That's it. You don't need the Ace version just to get more of your ammo back. Bulletstorm, it's pretty good if you're staying on the ammo boxes. Now, typically put, you want to use this for heavy ammo based weapons such as the commando or DMR based rifles such as the AMR or AK-76-2, that kind of thing. You have infinite ammo after a duration of period of pulling ammo out of the box. Now, something written here that, a lot of people were confused, including myself at one point, is if you take the last little bit, which if somebody on their team, which I totally recommend, you respect, if somebody on the team brings an ammo bag, let them have their bullet storm last 10% of the ammo. If you see that ammo bag low, don't touch it. They're saving it. Please. They are saving it. Why? Because they will have 60 seconds, if it's aced, or 15 or 20, I can't remember, if it's basic, of infinite shooting. Infinite. A minute of bullet storm. Save it. Otherwise, I don't think they mind if you take ammo, just don't take a shit ton. I have shown this in my Kingpin Scarface setup with the Commando, melting the Henry's rock turrets with a minute bullet storm aced. Try to save that for the person who brings the ammo bags. Extra lead, similar to Dr. Bags, you just get more ammo, more charge, that's it. Fully loaded, all your weapons start with a 25% increase. Fully loaded ace, you get more ammo back. And unfortunately this description is bugged. It is a very small chance to get yourself a grenade back when you pick up ammo boxes. It's not 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% chance. It's 5.1, 5.0, 5.11, 5.1111. This is apparently bugged, is what I've been told. So until Overkill fixes that, you don't see a lot of players building all the way up to fully loaded because a lot of weapons are fine with just ammo bags themselves, or the basic version is fine. Next is portable saw. You can see this in my solo goat simulator run. Obviously take an LMG and a portable saw, boom, you now have huge support for your team. You ace it if you want more saw time. Really good for stealth. Saw Massacre and Saw Massacre Ace. I have never seen this in a proper build, but if you want to go for it, cool. Reduce wear on the blades on enemies, not by objects. And of course, spreading panic and going through shields. Fine. I think I've seen this once in a troll build, but this is not really efficient. Sentries. I'm going to go over this one very quickly. There's either one way to do this or the other way. The other way is just make a sentry-based build. And you basically pump everything. I would typically go for this for a sentry-based build. Because the more health doesn't really matter. The shield's nice. More ammo. You can have silencer turrets. You can toggle AP rounds. These are important. And have sentries for your team. Again, I'm not going to go into full details. I rarely see sentries done in DSOD. They're more of like a homework. They're more like a chore, just to kind of pick. I'm not going to dive into too much of everything. I don't think it's a great use of points when you could be doing proper DPS. Yeah, it sure might help your team, but honestly, the best help for your team is grabbing jokers instead. They do damage and they do tanking, and you don't have to ever worry about them. These you have to constantly worry about. Majority of builds in here will actually take Jack of all trades ace. Now, this allows you to have a second deployable as well as interact with the deployables faster. The one thing to know is that your secondary deployable will be halved. So, example, we take Dr. Bags as a primary, and ammo, and Jack of all trades, it's a lot of points. Keep that in mind. If your team's dying a lot, you can take the Dr. Bag and take this as the secondary. However, this is ammo bag 1. Dr. Bag is 2, because that's the primary and the secondary. Switch them around, based on our current skill set, 2 and 1. That's what Jack of all trades does. A typical setup would just choose 1. And in this case, Dr. Bags because I want Inspire. Now we have Jack of all trades, and I could pick 2 Dr. Bags, 1 ammo bag, and there you go. A more efficient setup. Now drill skills. These are more for like crime spree or for stealth, but nonetheless I'll quickly go over them. I don't want to spend too much time. I know I've been yipping and yapping. 90% of builds should at least have hardware expert. Why? Because you repair drills and saws 25% faster. The difference from 10 seconds to 7.5 seconds is huge. Huge. A lot of builds for 3 points used for a 10% chance. This is typically not worth it unless you're going to go solo because you have extra points. Having Drill Sergeant Basic doesn't really do a lot for fade timers.
having it aced can change and speed up a lot of things in the heist. So it's either take 1 point in drill skills or take them all, in my opinion. Because with fade timers, I will be explaining this in all the maps that I do. There will be lots of times where all you got to do is just wait out one saw or wait out one drill. This for thermal drills is really nice, don't get me wrong. But if you know how to play with fades, it's not a big deal. But nonetheless, if you have points, acing this is just fine. This is probably the most I'd go for drill skills in any scenario. Kickstarter Basic is similar to Hardware Expert, but 20% chance more. And of course, Kickstarter, your famous melee. Oh, is it going to work? Is it going to fail? I don't like chance, like I said before, so I don't particularly recommend this. If you want to be all rushy, or be all stealthy, more trip mines is good. There's not a lot of uses for these other than if you want to sacrifice points to destroy walkways and say Hoxton Breakout, blow up doors, transports. Transports are a pain in the butt. Combat engineering, I don't think I've ever seen this. The damage that a trip mine does is enough to kill even a medic. So if a bulldozer runs across this, oh well, he's still going to be just as tanky as ever. Fire trap, this is really good for a crime spree. So, I don't do a lot of crime spree, or if any at all. So, I'll leave it to you in this scenario. But 9 times out of 10, you'll see in proper DSOD just 1 point or 2 points here. I don't like speccing this entire tree. Similar to Stable Shot, Steady Grip. 1 point for 8 accuracy, really good. Steady Grip Dazed, 4 points for stability. This allows us to get up to Surefire Basic a lot easier, which gets 15 more bullets to Surefire Basic, which could help for rifles such as the Clarion, Valkyria, or even Micro Uzi. I prefer to having this aced all the time. I don't think you need body expertise in a lot of builds, but if you want to spend the points for it, go ahead. In my LMG Anarchist setup, I do have body expertise ace, because that's just an LMG, but when it comes to assault rifles, typical standard setups for myself and that I see with a lot of other players, is just pop in Surefire Ace and lock and load so you can hip fire while you're sprinting. The crits will take care of the rest, just slightly aim for the neck or sooner or later you'll hit a headshot. Not a big deal. In one of my pistol builds, I do have this set up, and another pistol build, I do have this kind of scenario set up, but body expertise does not help DPS. It does speed things up when it comes to standard adds. Again, this is all based on my opinion. If you want to run with it, go ahead, but your points are better spent elsewhere. But the crits and Surefire Ace is enough to take care of quite a bit. Body expertise will not help with dozers at all. So if you think you're going to do more damage, you're not. Don't. And for the love of God, do not basic. It's either aced or turn it off. The other skills, fire control, more accuracy while firing from the hip. That's pretty good. However, sometimes I right click, so it's not a big deal. Fire control ace, I think that's a big waste of points. I don't see this a lot in a lot of builds, other than some best build 2020. But you don't need it. The accuracy is not, while moving, is not worth it. Because like I said, if you have Stable Shot aced, and if you're with a bipod, with an LMG, you're fine. And most accurate rifles, whether that be 88, 92, or 96, or even 100 accuracy, you don't need fire control, basic, or aced. Heavy impact. You can stagger shields. Or stagger all enemies. Or I have nothing to say about this, really. I think it's another point sink. I don't see this a lot in a lot of builds. To me, why would I stagger them? I'd rather kill them. Now we get to the fun stuff. Chameleon. This is more your stealth tree or your crime spree rushy tree, I guess. I only have this in one of my loud builds, and that's 6th Sense aced. But back on the tier 1 skill, all this stuff is meant for stealth. but why not mask up and grab that key card, or away you go. Cool. Increases the time start getting detected again. I have nothing to say about this, really. 6th Sense Ace, however, can give you that expert driver that you need for them stupid transport missions. So you don't have to do his bloody freaking escape. And of course, 6th Sense Basic itself, it allows you to basically AoE check with, you know, who's around you. Yeah, these are all more stealthy stuff, I guess. Not really body bag cases. Again, DSOD louds. ECM overdrive. One thing I want to talk about ECMs is that they work better for the host. They do not work great for the client that's joined into a party at all. Because I took an ECM and it did nothing. If I was hosting, ECMs would work a lot better for the enemy stun. However, if you take an ECM for a turret, the turret will definitely be on your side. And that's probably the only time I take an ECM is maybe Hoxton Breakout or maybe Slaughterhouse or things like that. But nonetheless, jammer duration, open electronic doors, whatever, just apply drill, nobody gives a shit. Another maybe useful one, maybe for solo if you have the extra points, is Nimble Aced. Ability to lockpick faster. So if you're on Hoxton Breakout or Shacklethorn Auction, this could be handy. But if you're getting up there, why not take Jack of all trades and grab C4? The only problem with this is that this works on smaller doors because smaller doors take 1 or 2. And since Jack of all trades aced is halved, you can only take up to 2. Heavier doors can use 3. If you decide to make a primary and your Dr. Bag secondary. That's an alternate option. A little bit faster, but I think this is a point sink in my opinion. Again, this is all stealth trees. I don't see this a lot in a lot of builds. Same with ECM Specialist, similar to ECM Overdrive Basic. Jammer, duration, duck and cover. Probably the 4th best skill, or maybe 3rd or 2nd, I don't know. But it's just 1 point. You get more stamina, you get more sprinting, and you can sprint farther. Just put it on, 1 point's good. Duck and cover aced is honestly, for any dodge build, that is appropriate. Just ace it, and those 3 points is similar to Sneaky Bastard, which I will be talking in a bit. A lot of builds I see have duck and cover and parkour. I used to be one of those. Used to be. I don't like the setup because parkour with soup, parkour with ballistic vest, heavy ballistic vest, light ballistic vest, it's about the same speed. I don't recommend it at all. I think it's a waste of 2 points. You can use those 2 points elsewhere. I would only put parkour for CTV and ICTV setups because those are heavier armors. Please don't be the dumbass that does parkour aced. Reload canceling is important. Run and reload, yeah, it might make sense on paper, but like I said, there may be a time where you're in cover, or if you just need to quickly sprint while you're reloading just to tag an enemy really quickly. Yeah, sure, you can melee, but a melee takes longer. Inner pockets, this is good for concealing stuff for low detection or high concealment builds. Same with inner pockets ace, similar to Die Hard ace, so you can have that 70 armor while maintaining crits, which we'll talk about in a bit, to have inner pockets aced. Shockproof, I rarely use this, but I know people don't like getting tased. Acing it makes it obviously work a lot better. You just press F when you get tased. Break free, there you go. I don't know. I don't see this a lot in a use case scenario, to be honest. Because it's already a high point sink to get up here, so to speak. But yeah, okay. Retypoing. Armor breaks first shot on every enemy that you make, because at first I thought it was what you take will cause them to stagger. But if you have no armor, typically wouldn't you want to be in cover anyways? I've literally lost my brain cells, and of course, losing brain cells is people that like to spec for Sneaky Bastard. Noob trap, just saying. basically, lower detection you have, the more dodge you acquire. I don't like falling into the line of dodge, like I said earlier. Because basically, you lose out a lot of DPS, crits, and other various utility-based skills. Overall, it's just too much points. Now, a lot of people like to ace Sneaky Bastard just to think you get more dodge. No. It's the same thing as low blow ace, where you get more room to have more points for dodge or crits in this example. And having lower detection, yeah, it might make sense on first, but that limits your value of weapons to have more stability, more accuracy, or all that other stuff. I only have one build with Sneaky Bastard. That's it. Because I know a lot of people don't like going away from it, so I had that as an option. At the end of the day, it's too much of a point sink, and again, dodge is still chance. I don't recommend it. You may see it, but I don't think it's a good skill to have in any base perk deck. That's why you see duck and cover a lot. Duck and cover is all you need, honestly. If you want to go for parkour, there you go. Second wind, really good. Just to get yourself back into cover ASAP. Doesn't work on Anarchist, don't. I used to think it worked on Anarchist at one point, it doesn't. Acing is probably the most useless thing you could ever do. Because if your teammate is trying to get into cover, or trying to roll somewhere, they're going to bump into a wall and probably die. Random speed boost out of nowhere doesn't make any frickin' sense at all. Optical Illusion's basic. Well, this is the same thing as Rogue. Yep, you heard it. The way I look at it is that if you have jokers, and if you're in cover and if your teammates are in cover, guess what? AI is going to focus on them, helping you and helping your team. But unfortunately, not every weapon set uses silencers. And with Professional Basic, you can have a faster snap to zoom similar to Rifleman, but for silencers, more stability and more accuracy for silencer weapons. Optical Illusion's Ace takes those silencers and makes them more concealable. You can see this a lot on a lot of silencer-based builds or whatever. Low Blow Ace, similar to Sneaky Bastard, less detection means more crit. So the basic version, your special number is 5. So if you got 5 detection or lower, all you need is basic. And a lot of builds can easily support this. Low Blow Aced means if the number you're looking for is 23 detection or lower, you can have up to 30% crit. If you have 26 or higher detection, that is 27% crit chance, and so on and so forth for every 3 points of detection rate. So yeah, the key numbers are basically 23 and 5. Or 23 and 4, because you can't get 5, you can't get 25. The numbers are weird in this game. High value target is really good for sniping, and really good for any other build set, even my LMG build. Enemies you mark go more redder, they take more damage, and the Ace version is you do 50% more damage if they're more than 10 meters away, and they're marked longer. So really good for stealth builds or even loud.
Another thing I forgot to mention for high value target is it's got infinite ping distance. So if you see a special, you mark it. As long as you have line of sight, you can spot special targets. This is really handy for long maps such as Hoxton Breakout, or any that needs attention for your team.
A lot of players neglect the skill. Unseen Strike, probably one of the best skills in the game. Now, I don't know why people neglect this thing. It's like, yeah, I got low blow crits. It's like, why not have low blow and Unseen Strike? The Ace version is not that much different from the basic version. If you take a hit, go into cover for 4 seconds, that's 6 more seconds of more crit. That's all it is. I know the typo says taking any damage will cancel effect. The effect means this 4 seconds. Not the 6 seconds effect, but the 4 seconds. So if you take a hit during 4 seconds, it will refresh the 4 seconds. The Ace version means you got more crit for 18 seconds. That's it. You don't need to ace it. If you want to ace it, I think it's a waste of points. Whatever. But a lot of crit-based builds, even without... Like my sniper build, for example, I would take this kind of a setup. So I have high value target and Unseen Strike. This is good for dozers. Very good for dozers and using your own assault rifles, SMGs, or even LMGs. Really strong. don't neglect the skill. Unseen Strike is saved my butt in a lot of players' butts a lot of times. Okay, well, Fugitive. This will be quick and dirty. If you bring an AP pistol or any pistol, please have 1 point in this. The weapon swapping speed that you get from it is not bad. Equilibrium, though, I think the Ace version for more accuracy with all pistols is kind of a waste because you could just go over to here, go to Steady Grip, and get 1 point there. It's much more than a point sink there. Akimbo Ace, this is really good for ammo situations like Akimbo Goliath or Akimbo Strike 18Cs. You have more ammo and less stability penalty. Really good. Gun nut, not my most favorite, but you get more magazine size and increased rate of fire. I don't think the increased rate of fire is necessary for pistols, but the 5 extra bullets can come in handy. However, I don't see this a lot of use. That makes sense. Now, here is kind of a debacle or debate which one you want to use. I prefer one-handed talent for more base damage because a faster dead dozer means I'm alive. Yeah, sure, I could reload faster in this scenario having Desperado aced. However, I don't do a lot of damage, and reloading faster means I'm going to take more rushy shots. I don't want to take more rushy shots. I'd rather have one-handed talent for the big damage. Then I can reload and cover, make sure everything's fine, then I'm ready. Again, personal preference, I prefer one-handed talent aced. Trigger happy, very similar to Unseen Strike aced, or Unseen Strike, yeah, Unseen Strike aced. You don't need to ace it, because basically you get a damage boost for 2 seconds. When you hit somebody, you gain all that extra damage bonus. You don't need to ace it because that duration for 4 seconds is just going to expire anyways. With a faster rate pistols anyways, such as the Akimbo Strike 18Cs, trigger happy basic is all you really need. 9 lives and 9 lives aced. Pretty much a standard DSOD thing. Get an extra life before you go into custody. Bullshit happens in the game. I still down, I still die, even I still custody because if I'm in a very awful mood. This is good. Almost every build should probably have this. Now the rest of this, I do not like. Up you go, yep, cool. You get more health and you take less damage when you revive, but guess what? Painkillers is just as good. Running from death, faster weapon swap speed and move faster. Painkillers is just as good. Cool. Awesome. Feign death, my luck is shit. This never works for me. I don't recommend it. But why waste points when you're chancing death? Why not prevent the death by spending more points for crits? Or jokers? That's just my take on it. Same thing with Swansong. Why spend points here? Because this is like 9 points of wasting. Yeah, sure, you get infinite ammo. You can finish an objective. But why not clear the area if you have all this DPS? Then go ahead and do the objective. Or have a Joker covering you. I don't get it. I know a lot of people like to fall into this trap. But you can play the game without it. You want to play it? Fine. The infinite ammo, but please, if you're going to have Swansong, run to your teammate or run to cover. Don't run out of Inspire range. That's the only thing I'll say about the skill. Blastus Messiah, again, if you can clutch a kill, cool, but thing is, I bleed out times, they rarely happen for me. If I go down again, or, you know, bleed out. I never have time to make a kill. So again, I'm very unlucky into this case, but again, it's such a high, heavy point sink. Try not to rely on this, please. Most typical builds just have 9 life stays. That's all you need. It's 4 points, and if you play slow and smart, you don't need any of this shit. Ever. All I'm gonna say. The least used trees, unless you're doing, say, Anarchist, Armor, or any Berserker-based setup, is the last tree, finally. Seriously gonna need a break after this. You don't need to ace martial arts, you just need to basic it just to get to the next points, because the ace version doesn't really do anything. Better off with shotgun iced. Just saying. Anyways, Bloodthirst. Basically, more kills you do, the more stacks you gain. The more stacks means the more melee damage you can perform. You can basically one shot a dozer. If you get lucky with a crit, with a pickaxe, and away you go. Pumping iron, it's just more damage on a dozer if you ace it, or more damage on a regular enemy if you just keep it basic. Now Berserker. Please do not use the cheat mod. I swear to God, I will kick your ass. Otherwise, yeah, you simply ace it. The lower health you have more damage. Typical setups like this, if you take damage from an enemy with armor, you can drop your health pretty easily. Or if you take an HE Judge, blow yourself up, and take a Molotov and lower your HP, away you go, and you have more damage. It's cut, dry, simple. Unfortunately, the basic version only applies to melee and saw, but the ace version allows you to do with weapons. That's it. Counter-Strike. Rarely see this in builds. It can save you from a cloaker, but I don't see this ever being viable. One other thing to note about Berserker is that this line is completely fake. You will still regenerate health with Hacker. I'm pretty sure with Hostage Taker. Gambler doesn't seem to affect it, but don't quote me on it. I could be wrong, but I've seen, like, obviously Hacker's the big one. So if anybody's running Hacker in your team, Berserker is gonna screw you over. Last is Frenzy. You start with less health, but you take less damage, and the healing you receive, which again, Hacker will out-heal it. You can start off with a Berserker, if that makes sense. But the thing is, starting with 30% of your maximum HP will not help for a lot of breakpoints, because you'll get about 40% Berserker from the start of the match. You're best off to... A lot of builds basically just have Berserker aced and that's it, 12 points, but if you want to spend more, 20 points. To me, this is very situational. Even the ace version is not that great, because this would be set up for like a solo build, perhaps. You don't have to worry about your teammates. But the thing is, you get even less damage, but to me, it's not worth it. The only time you would take it is for armor breakpoints. Say you take Hitman with ICTV armor or Yakuza with ICTV armor. Then a 225 shot gets reduced by 10%, and that'll surpass the 221 ICTV armor threshold. One of my builds does use this kind of setup, but that's because I'm using a 255 silent sniper rifle, and even then a 255 sniper rifle should be enough to take care of heavies, and away you go. I don't recommend Frenzy in a lot of cases, but for Anarchist or Armor, Berserker's all you need. Even if you go down once or get Cloaker kicked, combined with 9 lives, you can do more damage for an extra life. And there you go. But everything else is pretty much straightforward. If I were to go for a typical team-based build, Dr. Bag setup, I would have Inspire. I would try to keep Jokers as much as possible. 9 lives, duck and cover basic, Resilience Days, Bullseye, Hardware Expert. And depending if I have armor, I would take this off, but in 90% of all my builds, I would typically have a Joker just to keep heat off of me and my team, and there you go. Now you got a starter build. And then have some crits with 23 detection, and yeah, now we have 54 points to spend. So if I wanted, say, an LMG build, I would move these points here and start pumping Surefire Ace, and if I was playing Anarchist, maybe have body expertise for the LMG, maybe have some stable shot, shotgun aced. There you go, there's a decent LMG build with crits. If I was going for an assault rifle build, I could probably have this, have all that. do a setup like this, have inner pockets, maybe have a couple more jokers, and yeah, there's a standard assault rifle build. If I were to do a sniper build, let me see what we got here. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit funny. Hang on. Or to do like a sniper berserker build, I would have a build like this. Some crits there. There we go. Now we got a standard crit sniper berserker build. You don't like the snipers, we can easily opt for a small little pistol build. And we can have some surefire ace, and there you go. Small little pistol build. Yeah, list goes on. The more stuff that you don't point for clutch, or cheese, or swan song, or any of this extra stuff, you can start to see that there's a lot of utility, a lot of DPS you can bring to your team. Right there. Those are just small little examples I can quickly lift up. Got more on my build guide here. If anybody's curious, if anybody has any other questions, lots of stuff, lots of examples to learn from. And of course, I got all these example videos to go from. So like I said, there's a pistol build. Very similar. Sniper build. Very similar. Lots of examples. List goes on. There you go.